Hey, welcome back, friends. If you want to join the friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Today we're going to be going over the Gnome restaurant. This is going to be the best and only way of getting the sous chef outfit from the game. On top of that, it is actually a decently profitable thing to do if you are doing it correctly, so I will be mentioning two different ways of doing it. The first way is going to be the quickest way of getting the sous chef outfit, and the second way is going to be the way of getting the maximum amount of profit. Just either way you're going to be doing it, you are going to have to start with a little bit of a tutorial. Who you're going to have to come to is Aloft Gianni Sr., assuming that I pronounced that right at all. Just go ahead and talk to him. He will say that he wants to test you a little bit, and then basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make 4 different recipes. He will give you all the ingredients for them, so just basically make exactly what he tells you to make, and then go on from there. Once you finish your training, you should be left with a batatin, crunchy tray, as well as a couple of gnome spices in your inventory. These are going to be useful later on when we are having to make all the stuff for ourselves. I will go ahead and let you know where to buy everything, so it's a lot easier to make it yourself. Depending on the way you're doing it, it is going to be a little bit different. I'll explain that later, though. And we're going to be offered a job. Essentially, all you're going to do is travel over RuneScape and actually make things for people. We are now done with the senior, and we have to run over to the junior to start getting our tasks. I would recommend going for hard tasks. This is going to be the way of getting the best profit, as well as getting the sous chef outfit as quickly as possible. I will mention all the teleports that I have in my inventory as well. I would recommend having at least a tier 2 ring so that you can teleport around with. That is useful for the Keldegrim teleport. The Keldegrim teleport is going to be extremely useful because one of the gnomes that we're going to be going to is going to be in Keldegrim. Next up is going to be the Ring of Dueling. You are absolutely necessary to have Ring of Dueling. This is going to be the quickest way of getting back to the Gnome stronghold. All you're going to do is teleport to the mobilization armies, and then that will get you to the Spirit Tree network. Assuming that you already have the Spirit Tree network unlocked, you should just be able to teleport directly to the middle of the Gnome stronghold. The Tokozo Ring is going to be extremely useful for basically anything that you're going to be traveling around a lot with. It is going to be used to teleport to a fairy ring. The fairy rings are going to be extremely useful here because there's quite a few different places that are really close to fairy rings, obviously seeing as how expansive the fairy ring network is. So you teleport to the fairy ring with whatever teleport that you actually have. I use the Tokozo ring. I know the Ring of Slaying is another decent option. It does have a certain amount of charges though, so that's the reason why I stay away from it. As well as a Monkey Grigri. This is going to be extremely useful because you're going to have to be going to Ape Atoll, and otherwise you get attacked by tons of apes. I do have a cookbook in my inventory, as well as Crunchy Tray, Batatin, and I would also recommend going and buying yourself... Let's go ahead and go to Huto over here, and buy yourself a Gnome Bowl mold. Now, this is only going to be necessary if you're just going to be doing this for the sous chef outfit, because there's no use in actually making tons and tons of these items if you're just going to be doing it for an hour or two. If you are going to be doing this for an extended period of time for profit, I would recommend actually making all these items beforehand so that you don't have to make all these items as you go. Just make a couple of each different item. That way you could just have them in your bank and just run over to the bank that's directly south of here for all the pre-made stuff. You can't buy stuff. It is a different item ID, so you actually have to make them all yourself. So keep that in mind. Also, a cocktail shaker is going to be extremely useful for any time that you have any cocktails. All the ingredients that you actually need to make any of these items are going to be in this store. I am going to mention 2 items later on that are not going to be in this store, but I'll mention them in a couple seconds. And if they are not in this store, if you need to make a cocktail, all the cocktail ingredients are going to be in the southeastern section. You basically just run all the way over to Hector Funk, or however you want to pronounce it, and he will sell you any of the alcoholic beverages. So if you need to make any alcoholic beverages, this is going to be the place you're going to go and buy a cocktail glass here. I'm going to mention two of the items that you cannot actually buy from stores really quick. So the only two items that you can't actually buy directly from the Grand Tree are going to be king worms, and it's going to be made from the swamp toad at least. You're going to remove the legs from the swamp toad, and you're going to end up with toad's legs. So if you are going to be doing this for a decent amount of time to get the sous chef outfit, or if you just want to continuously do this to go for the gnome scarf, I would recommend getting an inventory worth of toad legs, banking them, and then getting an inventory worth of king worms and banking those as well. If you are willing to, both of these can be bought off the GE. They are a little bit expensive, the toad legs at least. They're about 1,000 GP. The king worms, on the other hand, they're only going for about 100 GP a piece. I'm not sure how often they actually get sold, so just keep that in mind that you may not actually be able to buy them off the GE easily, but you should be able to find them on the GE if you are willing to pay enough money. Okay, so now that we know how to make all these different ingredients as well as to make the actual products, all we have to do is come to Gianna Jr. here and grab a hard task. As soon as they actually say anything, you can kind of just scoot off of here. It tells you immediately who wants it and what they want. Fruit Blast is actually going to be a drink, so we're going to have to run over to the drink section to make that one. I would recommend having the Wikipedia open. I will leave you a link in the description down below for the Wikipedia. That way you know exactly which items you are going to be needing to make said ingredients. Like I already said, I do have a lot of the teleports that I'm going to need commonly in my inventory, but I did not pre-make any of these items. If you are going to be doing it mass quantities or going for the gnome scarves, this is probably a good idea to do in advance. But we are going to be making I believe it was a blurberry special really quick. Just depends. Oh, Fruit Blast actually. Just depends on whichever one you need. I will go ahead and show you the Wikipedia page really quick. It tells you exactly what you need for a Fruit Blast, Pineapple Punch, all these different ingredients. You're going to need these main ingredients to actually mix the drink, and then these are going to be used to actually finish off the drink. So go ahead and just make that drink and deliver it. I'll be back as soon as I do. Okay, so now that we have the drink prepared, as well have already found the gnome that we are looking for, you just go ahead and talk to them and they will give you a reward. If you do not have the complete sous chef outfit, it will give you a chance at getting a sous chef outfit piece. To get the full set, it only took me about 20 trips. That's going to be about an hour worth of time. So very, very fast to actually get that. They'll also give you usually just a random, really, really cheap item. The best one you can really expect is a loop half of a key. If you're extremely lucky, you will be getting some grain seed pods. The seed pods are actually worth a lot of money, 16,000 a piece. I personally just use these as I get them because they have a very useful teleport. And if you happen to get super lucky, there's actually only two different people that actually give this out. It's going to be Captain Huto and Captain Derikin. You can get a gnome scarf. I actually happen to get extremely lucky. They're worth 12 million a piece. So obviously it's not going to be every single trip that you're going to be getting one of these. I believe it's a 1 in 20 if you happen to go to one of these two people that you even get a gnome scarf. If you are going for pure profit, you probably want to just find something that's bank standing to do, and every 5 minutes go check to see if you have one of those two people. You can cancel these tasks whenever you feel like. Just cancel the task and then go ahead and check to see if you have Captain Huto or Captain Derikin. Both of these have the chance at the gnome scarf, which is where the majority of the money is going to be coming from. On top of that, if you are having a problem finding any of these people, again, the Wikipedia is a very good resource. There is an entire list of every single person on any of these hard tasks. I would recommend just go ahead and using these. It also tells you the best way of getting to them. There's a couple that are relatively hard to get to. The majority of them are either close to a gnome glider or have a teleport that are relatively close to them. I do want to mention how to get back to the Grand Tree. First option is going to be to use a glider if there's a glider nearby. This one does happen to have a glider that's relatively close. You just run over here to the east. This is actually how I got to Penwee in the first place. But just go ahead and run over here to the captain and glider it out. The next option is going to be to teleport with a Ring of Dueling. Go ahead and rub the Ring of Dueling, teleport to the mobilizing armies. And then when you teleport to the mobilizing armies, go ahead and teleport with the Spirit Tree to the Tree Gnome Stronghold. This will put you a little bit south of the main tree, but it gets you relatively close. The last option, and the one that I would personally recommend using, if there's not a glider nearby, I would recommend just using a Grand Seed Pod. If you squash the Grand Seed Pod, seems like I'm already pretty close to it, so let's go ahead and teleport somewhere that is not extremely close to the tree right here. I would recommend squashing it just because it's a little bit faster than launching it in the air. If you squash it, it will teleport you directly to the bottom of the Grand Tree. Extremely close and extremely fast way of getting to the Grand Tree very quickly. Only downside of this is it's going to be costing you about 16,000 GP every single time you do it. I think it's personally worth it. It doesn't cost too much over the long run. Maybe 200, 300,000 GP per hour to use these instead. And it probably saves you a couple minutes per hour on top of the Ring of Dueling method. So I would use this if you're trying to save a lot of money. It is possibly worth it to use Ring of Dueling instead. Then you just go ahead and get the next hard task. Just repeat the process over and over again until you have the full Sous Chef outfit. Or until you get your Gnome Scarf. Again, if you want to, I'll go ahead and show it off here really quick. Professor Mangleborn, he is not actually the person that we want to be doing. It's not one of the two glider captains that we want to be doing, so I won't be able to do this order. It will make you wait for 5 minutes. Yes, you're sure you want to refuse the order. Then you're going to have to wait for 5 minutes before you can actually do another order. You just run over to the bank right here. It's relatively close. Do whatever you want to do, bank standing wise, and then give it another go. See if you can get the Gnome Scarf, one of those glider people as well. It is not guaranteed to get a Gnome Scarf. It's a 1 in 20 shot from what I've heard. They also have a Gnome Goggles. These are worth only about 300,000 GP, but again, it's a 1 in 20 chance. So if you see a Gnome Goggles, that could have been a Gnome Scarf, so unlucky, but still worth more money than basically any other drop they're going to be giving. Hopefully this does help you guys out, get your Sous Chef outfit or get a little bit of GP with the Gnome Scarf here. If it does, go ahead and hit that like button down below. It shows me the support. I also love it if you hit the subscribe button down below so you can see all my future content. I do plan on making a 99 cooking training method pretty soon, so make sure you subscribe for that and leave a comment if this is helpful to you. As always though, have a good one.